Hi, this is Paul. I wanted to do my review of The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 1. I'm a big fan of The Walking Dead. I've been watching all the seasons since the beginning. And of course, with the cliffhanger of last season, how it ended. So this is going to obviously have spoilers in it. Of course, how it ended with them being captured by Negan and Negan's group, and us being introduced to Negan, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and him basically introducing us to Lucille, and basically telling him that he's going to beat somebody's brains in, and if anybody tries to interfere, he's going to kill somebody else. And he specifically says, if anybody moves, cut Carl's other eye out and feed it to his father. Okay, and then of course, they see him proceed to, and you don't beat the cameraman up, and you don't see who actually gets Lucille at that moment. But he does say taking it like a champ. So of course there was speculation that's how it ended. A lot of people were mad, and I was one of them was mad that they kind of ended it in that cliffhanger and not knowing, when we had to wait months to find out exactly who got killed. And now I knew from a guy at my job had told us who died in the comics, so I knew that Glenn died in the comics. So, and I knew they changed things around in the show and stuff, and I know that that things don't actually work out the way they do in the comics. Sometimes they change things around. So I was speculating, and I thought immediately that, of course, Abraham was going to get it because of what Negan said, taking it like a champ. And I thought, well, who's the only Abraham was the only big guy there, I think, that could literally take a bat shot, take it like a champ. He was a legitimate badass. So I thought, okay, Abraham's going to die. I did think that. Okay, Glenn, I didn't think so much. I was a part of me that was kind of hoping that they wouldn't do the comic thing, you know. But then, all the fake outs with Glenn, and like I said, I knew from my friend at work that that Glenn had died. Glenn was the actual person that Negan killed in the comics, and Abraham had got killed before that in the comics. So he got the arrow through the eye, which the doctor got it on the actual TV show. But anyway, this episode was this intense, and of course, they don't show you the reveal right away. Okay, they kind of show you like 20 minutes in. At first, you just see the aftermath of that scene that they released like a week before the episode, where Rick, you see blood on his face, and he's telling Negan, and he's going to kill him. Maybe not today, not tomorrow, but he's going to kill him. And then, of course, that's when Negan gets asks his assistant, what kind of thing was he carrying? And he says a hatchet, and he gives him the hatchet, and he basically grabs Rick and tells him he's going to take Rick into the RV, and basically takes Rick into the RV and drives him a lot into the woods, and basically takes the axe. Actually, he puts the axe down first. Okay, and he's driving the car, and then he basically dares Rick to get the axe, and Rick does, takes it. At this point, Rick is angry like an animal. He's not broken yet, and he grabs the axe, and then of course Negan turns around with a machine gun, of course, and then of course Rick drops the axe, and then he takes the axe and opens up the van and throws it out and says, "Go get my axe." And basically Rick is forced to go out and grab the axe among all these walkers, and then of course while he's doing, he's trying to avoid walkers pushing him off and stuff, and then he climbs up top to the RV, and he's taking a moment to taking all this craziness, and then that's when they flash back and they actually show you what happened and who gets Lucille. And of course, like I predicted, Abraham did get it first, and Abraham was a tough son of a gun. He went out, basically told him to suck his balls. I think that's what he said. He just basically, So I knew, and again, just from that line, Negan said, taking it like a champ, that that he was the only guy that could literally, take it like a champ. At least the first initial hit. And after that, he just beat his brains in literally, and the look on Rosita's face, and Sasha, just everybody's, just his head basically got turned into putty, and just, oh my god. And then of course, and then you think maybe, and then this is when it kind of fooled me, because they show you Negan after he kills Abraham, he takes the bat and he flicks the blood like to the right, and Rick is there, of course, and Rick gets the blood on his face. So that made me think somebody on Rick's side actually, got it. Okay, and it was Abraham who was on Rick's right. I think he was on the right. I think, wasn't he? I think he was. Now that I'm confusing it, but I think he was on the right. And but that's not how you got the blood. So I thought maybe because a lot before, I was reading all the speculation things, and I know people were thinking that it was Maggie getting whacked and stuff, that Maggie was going to get killed and stuff, and a lot of people think a lot of different things. And I even thought, I think initially way back when I watched season 6, I thought maybe they was going to have the young guy that recruited them, the gay gentleman, I can't remember his name now, Aaron, that was his name, I think Aaron, who recruited them into Alexandria. I thought maybe it was going to be him, but then again, like you said, even if they killed him, that's not an emotional thing. I mean, we we knew him that, but we haven't gone through 6 seasons with this guy. I think the guy showed up at the end of season 5, so we didn't. We're not mostly invested in his character as much as we am with our original crew. So after that moment, and then Daryl, because I remember seeing that preview with Rick when he drags Rick away, and then you see the blanket on the ground, and that's what a lot of people maybe thought it was Daryl that got his brains beaten in, but no, Daryl does a stupid move, and I can't. It's a stupid move because remember Negan promised that if somebody stopped, he was gonna shut that S down, and sure enough, Daryl tries to take a swing. He actually does take a swing at Negan, and they grab him and they throw him to the ground. Of course, doesn't get too far, and of course the guy that stole his crossbow wants to kill him, and Negan says, "No, no, that's not. No, we're not going to do that." And then at that point I said, "Uh oh." Then I had that feeling in my pit of my stomach. Oh, he is going to kill somebody else, and I didn't think he was going to kill Daryl at that moment because of what he said. You know, that somebody else was going to pay for Daryl stepping out of line. And sure enough, the way they framed the shot with Negan to the left, and then you saw right to his left, you saw Glenn like right in his sights, and I said, "Oh." Then I just dread just creeped over me, and I knew right then and there. I said, "Oh, he's gonna get it." And sure enough, he turns around and whack. Oh, and Glenn, poor Glenn. Oh, he just crushes him with that first shot, and you see his brain. Oh, and then his eye is like hanging out. His left eye is like hanging out, and you see he's trying to form words, and I think he does get out, Maggie, that I'll find you, or uh, I'll wait for you, or something like that, and just and then you just see the look of horror on everybody's face, and especially Maggie's face, with that just destroys her, obviously, and then he just proceeds to beat Glenn's brains. Oh, and just that was just that was heart wrenching. Not that Abraham's was, but like I said, we not mostly Abraham was around for a couple of seasons, but Glenn we knew from the beginning. So that just really broke my heart to see Glenn the way he just got obliterated. Okay, and then of course, then they show Rick surviving. Negan, he's battling the zombie. Then they flash back when Rick is battling the zombies. There even comes a point where he jumps on the guy that was hanging from the end of season 6 on the rope who got hung, and that guy's a zombie, and Rick jumps on him to try to avoid the walkers, and then of course Negan shoots the walkers around just enough time for Rick to grab the axe and get back in the van. And then now I know from the comics, of course, that my friend again told me that Rick loses his hand actually. So I thought for a minute when Negan started cleaning the axe with the peroxide that he was going to cut Rick's hand off. I thought for sure he was going to do that because I know Rick lost his hand in the comics, and I thought for sure that was going to happen. I was kind of dreading, hoping that wouldn't happen. Thankfully, it didn't happen. But he takes Rick back, to the and it's like daylight coming. Dawn is coming up, and he throws Rick back down there, and basically he calls Carl over, and takes a marker and draws it on his arm, and he basically tells Rick that you're going to have to cut his arm. You're going to have to do it real good so he can basically not die. And of course, then you see Rick finally breaks, and it's heartbreaking just to see him break like that, and it's just, oh my God, just amazing, and just and heartbreaking at the same time. And you see, oh my God, the actor, I forget, not Rick Grimes, the actor, I forget the actor who plays Rick, his real name, but he just that moment where you see him, he's like slobbering. I think he even says, he said, you can cut my arm. I think he even offered to cut his arm, and then you see Michonne even speaks up saying he gets it, and then you see, and they can basically tell, he has everybody his men put guns to the back of everybody's head that's still alive, and said if he doesn't do it, of course, we're going to kill everybody. And he basically tells Rick he's going to leave him alive. He's not going to kill him. He's going to leave him alive to suffer with it, knowing that everybody else died. And then of course Rick, Rick has the accident. He's raising him up. Then that point he stops, which is, and you see Rick is just broken. And even Carl at one point when he's laying on the ground, he just tells his father just to do it, and it's just heartbreaking. And then of course Negan and his boys leave, and he tells them basically, "I'll be back in a week." Okay, and it's just heartbreaking. And then you see the aftermath of them trying to pick it up, and Maggie gets up, and you can tell she blames herself, saying that they were out there for her because she got sick and stuff, and then everybody tries to come together, and Sasha goes over to Rosita, who's broken by Abraham getting killed, and they, her, then Eugene comes over and they pick up the body, and then you see them take Glenn, and everybody else picks up Glenn and what's left of them, and takes them in the van, and you see them rode off. And this episode was just heartbreaking, and really, literally heartbreaking, and just, oh my God, this season's gonna be intense. And like I said, Negan, I know in the comic books, I read this because I read this, but again, that Rick ultimately does defeat Negan, and he doesn't kill Negan. He keeps Negan around as a prisoner. But I'm sorry, on this TV show, you can't do that with this character. You have to have this character get killed, and he has to die in the most brutal fashion. I'm sorry, you can't have this character on and be that evil for a couple of seasons. I'm sorry, it's not going to work. Negan has to die this season. I don't care if they save it to the end, but he has to die, and he has to die in the most brutal fashion. Okay, it can't be a quick death. It's gonna have to be a most brutal to satisfy all the fans. He has to die a most brutal death. Okay, that's just my opinion about that. Okay, he can't die no simple quick death or be taken to prison like they say in the comic books. He has to die a brutal death for the pain he inflicted on our group. He has to die a brutal death, and I think that's the only thing that will satisfy the fans. And I think that the producers and the creators know that Negan, his character, Jeff D. Morgan, played the hell out of it, but he has to die a brutal death at the end. He has to. There's no way around it, in my opinion. Anyway, let me know what you think of season 7, episode 1 of The Walking Dead. What do you think of it? That was, again, most intense episode of television I ever watched. Intense and brutal. Man, that was just brutal to watch. Let me know what you think of it. Feel free to leave comments down below. If you like this review, please subscribe button down below. This is Paul saying so long and take care.